Hello, hello, everybody. Good morning. Hey, Jesse. Morning, Daryl. Morning, Bill. Hey, Coffee. Good morning. What's up, Squid? Good morning. Morning, Juan. Hey, OD. Thanks, AOD. I'm glad. AOD says he's enjoying the daily lessons in the Discord. Yeah, I hope if you're a member of the Discord, hope you're tuning into those. I have found that to be the best way to improve as a trader is to review charts every day. And then especially if you can gain some insights from someone who's been doing it a little bit longer, incredibly valuable. So yeah, I'm glad you're taking advantage of that. Hope everyone's good this morning. Looks like, hey, fingers crossed, we might have a little uptrend. Might have something going. We're right at the top of some resistance though. See if we can actually break through. Morning, Ed. Looks like I got a little lag going on my chart, so unfortunately I'm gonna have to sync it on rhythmic, which will make me have to restart rhythmic. I would definitely recommend that for you though. Check the lag on your NinjaTrader. If it is off, sync your clock, but then also sync it via rhythmic. You don't want any lag if you're trying to trade, especially short-term trades like this. Morning, Gene. Cool. Now my clock is all good to go. Hey Jeff, good morning. We are right up against this resistance from the past couple days here. Yeah, I agree, Jeff. Yesterday was a little bit, well, it's been rough for a bit. I would say. But we do have a nice uptrend right now, and maybe we can get some continuation from it. Daryl says, was planning to up my target from 4 to 8 ticks, but with the ATR I just went for 4 ticks. Feel like Wall Street is already on vacation. Man, it really feels like that. And you know, we're coming into the summer too, which is historically slow in the market. So I was kind of wondering that yesterday, like, oh man, has summer vacation already started? Is this, are we settling into summer kind of rhythm already? I hope not. I hope not. I believe we are going to end up opening right around yesterday's close, so no gap on the chart today, but we would especially want to keep track of the yesterday's high, the overnight low. Which is just about yesterday's opening price and yesterday's low, actually. So this will be really key. You know, what I don't like about this is that sets us up for a really good range day, right between yesterday's high and yesterday's low. And so far the price action has just matched it to a T. So, oh man, that's no good. That's no good. Yeah, AOD, it has been a tough week for the second entries. The only ones that have been good have been a little bit more aggressive ones. There hasn't been too many that were like super clean. But you got to keep in mind, guys, that's how it goes. For every strategy, there are days and things just don't look that great. You know, for all those like OCT traders, for instance, they have whole years that aren't good, right? And that is, with any strategy, that is always how it goes. There's always times where your particular edge is not being present in the market. We're 9 minutes away from the open now, and what's today? Thursday. We already passed the unemployment claims, which came in higher than expected. We do have some Fed speak out of Canada at 11 and the 30-year bond auction at 1. But other than that, it's a news-free environment, and again, likely a range day, unfortunately. We are getting a pullback here. First break of the channel. Maybe we'll get a long setup. Maybe we'll get a long setup. I don't particularly like it too much. Coming off the resistance here. But we never quite touched the top of resistance, so there's still a little bit of room. It might want to go up there once. Thank you, Canadian correspondent Jesse. We appreciate that. And yes, for anyone who isn't aware, big news out of Canada today. They're trying to pass a law that says a hockey helmet can be used in place of a seatbelt. Some really groundbreaking legislature there. And I, for one, am hoping it's passed. I think it just makes sense, you know? It's a pass. It's just a formal vote at this point. That's good. That's good. Those are the good old days, eh, Jeff? When you can just play hide and seek in the back of the minivan. Yep. Good times, good times. We are coming back to the EMA, it looks like. Nearly an EMA touch. Hey, Tom. If we get a really solid second entry, I'll consider it, but this price action, I would kind of expect this to be the start of a move down. Yeah, looks like we're going to open right around yesterday's close, so no gap on the chart today. We got the open in about 30 seconds here, guys. Here's the opening bell. So far, a bounce off the EMA. maybe reaching towards a new high here. See if we can come back to the EMA for one more test. I still like the idea of a second entry long here. So far the EMA is holding support here. Let's see if we can get maybe like one more nice bullish bar. And not really looking like it. Nasdaq is dropping pretty significantly here. So I think the ES is probably going to follow suit. But we'll see. It looks better on the ES for sure. Might consider taking this bar. This would be the double trap off of the second entry. I don't know if I can get my don't have my trade copier ready. Slightly sketchy setup anyway. Yeah, I think I'm going to hold off on this one, although that looks pretty good. You might consider taking that. I don't like how the Nasdaq is pushing below the EMA. That's making this setup look a little bit sketchier. One more little confirmation here might get me along though. I think we got a decent chance on this one. Would like to see the Nasdaq push up though. It's still below the EMA, which is no bueno. Yeah, Nasdaq's dropping. This isn't going to work out. But took a smaller position. I think it was worth a chance. And the ES is still holding up pretty well compared to the Nasdaq, which is dropping. We're just kind of ranging here on the ES while the Nasdaq goes down a bit. Kind of like the Nasdaq for a short, actually. We can pull back to the EMA. See how this short looks on this pullback from the NAS. And anticipating that the downtrend starts on the ES here. Yeah, there's definitely some barbed wire on the chart. That is for sure, Fury. Nasdaq especially looks good for a short, though. I'm just patiently waiting for a pullback on the Nasdaq to go short. ES looks a lot stronger, but we could also get a short on there. Not writing it off. All right, possible overshoot of the downtrend on the Nasdaq. Unfortunately, that will not help our shorts. Yes, everything I think still looks good for the most part. Possible slight overshoot, we'll see. Okay, here we're getting that pullback, guys. Let's watch this very closely. Anu Deep, what's going on? This is Ninja Trader, my friend. And Jesse, I'm not having the same problems with Rhythmic. Everything looks good on my end. So this the price action so far, guys, is confirming the range thesis. Unfortunately, we had this uptrend overnight break. Usually that's when you get a new high. Nope, we didn't. So the yesterday's high and yesterday's low so far looking like the limits of today's action. So keep that in mind. This so far is a range day. And still don't have our first entry here on this pullback. Okay, we have our first entry. Let's see if we can get our second entry here, guys. This could be good. Nasdaq is not even pulling back on this thing. Way, way weaker than the S&P this morning. Okay, this could be it. Let's see if we get a nice bearish reversal on this bar. I like it so far. Oh man, don't want the bar to get too big. I'm gonna have to cancel that. That's a really big bar. 3 1/4 points. Going for 2 1/4. Yeah, I can't justify that, unfortunately. But we could try a limit order if it triggers and then comes back. Gene, am I paying for real data? Yes, because I have a personal NinjaTrader account that I do in addition to my funded accounts. But it's not much. It's like $8 to $12 a month or something. Super affordable. Yeah, I'm not feeling that setup anymore, and it didn't even trigger. Oh, gotcha, Gene. Sorry, I thought you were asking me. And now pushing above the EMA, so that short's no longer looking good. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is clearly a ranging day. Especially when you start to see this, that trends are not resolving, right? This uptrend had a break, did not actually get a new high. This downtrend had a break, and so far does not look like it's getting a new low. That is a key characteristic of range days. So keep that in mind. Keep it light today. Jeff, that's a really good question. When do I feel comfortable with my channels calling it an overshoot and not widening it? Yeah, I mean, it really depends. It really depends. Not a solid answer for that one, but one thing is whether or not it's an overshoot. Once you see this kind of action way above the EMA and retracing more than 50% of your move, of your original trend, that's when you know that like we're not expecting this to get a new low anymore. So I would think that's the main thing, is not necessarily whether or not something was an overshoot, but how far have we retraced. And if we've retraced more than 50%, you know, right now we've probably traced 75%. I'm not really doing anything with this downtrend anymore. Because of the range structure, I am definitely looking for this to be an overshoot. Fury, make sure that you are clearing your cache every morning. So close NinjaTrader, delete all your cache files. And if you don't do that often, that'll make a huge difference. I do it every day. Excellent question, Toad. You clear your cache so that you can clean your cache. They're very closely related. Can't do one without the other. There we go, baby. Hydration. It's Chug Jug 30 right now. Oh yeah, smash that like button also. Good reminder, Fury. I need to smash that like button myself. Jeff, if you're asking me, yes, I have heard of Harry Mack. I actually met him once when I was like 17. Way back in the day. I took a trip to Portland, Oregon when I was a teenager, and he was downtown freestyling, so this is like way before he was ever blew up or anything, and yeah, it was pretty cool. So, and at the time I was really into hip hop. Well, I still am. But yeah, so I talked to him a bit afterwards. And then, yeah, a few years ago, I was like, oh man, I know that dude, when he started blowing up. Short-term trend is still going up. On the Nasdaq as well, looks like it is still holding. And I think this is the kind of day it's going to be, guys. Lots of back and forth, trends not playing out how you expect them to. Coming up on that high of day on the S&P already. Still moving up. Still moving up. Testing that high right now. Well, I don't really like a pullback too much now that we have come up against that resistance. Nasdaq, look at this. I mean, that if that is not a clear range, I don't know what is, guys. Directly up, directly down, directly up as range-like behavior. Boom, we are getting a new high. Now don't be fooled by this, guys. Don't start rushing in and start buying. Your bias has to be that this is a range day right now, so expect this to reverse more than anything. Looks like the Nasdaq continuing to move up as well, but still much weaker than the S&P. The S&P is already on a new high. Nasdaq's not. We're still like what, 30 points away from a new high. Oh, sorry to hear that, Fury. The good thing is you're not missing anything crazy. Nasdaq still not really going up with the ES here. Kind of feels like we might correct. Yes, Neil. Yeah, if you're going to trade second entries, always wait for the signal bar to close. Absolutely. The only exception would be if you were playing an engulfing entry, but you don't really do that on a standard second entry. That would be on a failure. So yeah, for any standard second entry, always wait for the signal bar to close. Because think about it, a bar can look incredibly different between when it opens and when it closes, right? You can have a really bearish bar that turns around and forms a bullish hammer and vice versa. So yeah, you always want to see how the bar finishes. All right, getting that pullback on the Nasdaq. Maybe we'll get a long setup. I don't like these big candles right here. That looks like the start of a reversal, but we'll see how the EMA holds and if we can get a nice second entry off of it. Okay, there's the first attempt to go higher by the bulls. Right there. We need one more pullback and one more attempt to go higher. And that's when we'll join. Moving up pretty significantly. I don't think we're going to get that second attempt at the EMA. Oh, here we go. This could be it. This could be it. Come on down. Right, move back down to the EMA for the Nasdaq. Let's see how this forms. Right away, don't like how strong that bearish bar is. We'll see. We'll see how this looks. ES2 coming off of resistance. Yeah, I don't like this action. It looks like it's going to go down. There it goes. And again, that's the kind of day we're having. Range-like trends are not resolving themselves how we would expect. So in the same way, I would also anticipate this trend on the ES not to be resolved, for us to come back down into the range. That's the most likely scenario. Pull back. We'll see how this looks. Like it a little bit better on the Nasdaq, although that's a really big bull bar. Jeez Louise, guys. It's gonna be one of those days, isn't it? Whippy for sure. Yeah, Daryl, I was thinking about going and watching the grass grow myself. There's the first entry to the short side on the S&P. Right here you can see that pullback. Leaning on the short side for sure, so let's see if we can get one more entry like that and then a good bearish bar. I am not hopeful this will give us a setup here. Feels like it's either just going to launch or drop without offering anything. But let's see. Let's see what this bar looks like. Hasn't ticked above yet. We want to see it move above and then close bearish, and that's when we'll enter. Yeah, not gonna give it to us. Still hasn't technically made a new low. We still could get an entry, but it doesn't look as good now. Guys, make sure you're liking the stream also. Looks like we only got like about 18 likes with almost 50 people in here. Would appreciate it. It's a small token. It's just a click of the mouse. But helps the algorithm, helps the channel grow, more people get connected. Fury, I'm glad you got your technical issues resolved there. Those are always really frustrating. here we go, moving above the EMA. Looks like we may get a new high of this uptrend. If we get a nice higher low, that would confirm that, and I could take that long. Nice, Sax, that's great. Playing both sides of the range. Yes, pushing towards that new high, and keep watching, guys, this continued weakness in the Nasdaq. We have, yeah, I mean, we're just like right in the middle of the range. Just compare the two charts and notice the difference. You can't trust a rally on the S&P if the Nasdaq is not participating. Right now we have just straight up wedge on the Nasdaq, gross price action, donate zone for sure right here. So if you're looking at the S&P chart and it's going up and you're thinking, man, I really got to get in this long, hopefully this can help you curb that mentality a little bit. So for instance, on the ES, it might be tempting to start to look at a big channel like this, but with how weak the Nasdaq is, I would not advise that. I think a correction's more likely than a big channel like that being legit. Price is just stalling out right here on the S&P, just shy of the new high. And again, the weakness in the Nasdaq, an obvious reason why we're not going any higher. Nasdaq starting to push up, breaking out of that wedge to the upside. Watch that though. These wedges are well known for breaking to one side and then going to the other. Just something to be cautious about. ES getting that new high. So popping over to a daily chart of the S&P, here's what we're dealing with. The high from a couple of days ago would be our next target right here. With how low volume it is and how weak the Nasdaq is, I do not expect us to get above that. But now that I'm looking at that, I'm wondering if that's the measured move from today. Ooh, almost to a tick. The high from 2 days ago, so okay. Well, maybe we get up there and that's when we start to correct. Keep track of those measured moves, guys. They often come into play. Now that we have a new high of that channel on the on the S&P, let's look for a correction. Nasdaq has a little swing high to get over here. And if the Nasdaq starts showing some strength, the S&P is definitely gonna get going up. Nasdaq so far not confirming above that little swing high. Okay, Nasdaq above that little swing high, and we're seeing the correlated move on the S&P. Look at that, testing the high from 2 days ago. We'll see how legit this is. Yeah, Fury, everyone's chased the market. Everyone has chased the market. So here we are right at yesterday's high, right at that potential measured move. And if the market can confirm above this, we may even have a bull trend day, guys. That would be crazy. But here is why I'm still hesitant of that. Nasdaq still in a range. There's no big channel here. You're not going to see a significant rally if the Nasdaq is not participating. So I'm not saying it's not going to happen. It definitely could. This action has been really bullish, but these are the things that you got to keep in mind. This is not a runaway trend kind of day yet. Could get there. It's not there yet. Nasdaq still struggling at that range high. Nasdaq coming off that range high. I like a short if this sets up. We can get a failed second entry long on the Nas. I like that. On the S&P, I just don't even know. I'm not really convinced in this bullish trend. Right off of the high from 2 days ago. A lot of empty space at the top of the channel. I would really need to see prices confirming above this level for me to start to get bullish. So coming up here and then just consistently like trading above that. Then I can get long. But right now there's not a lot that looks more like a bull trap than anything. We do have the first entry to the long side on the Nasdaq. You can see one attempt to go higher here. We drop down and get another feeble attempt with a bearish bar. I like that for a short. Okay, I like this action so far. Let's get down below the EMA and get one more little feeble attempt to go higher. I think that ticked higher. Yeah, that did tick higher. We're on the wrong side of the EMA though. Yeah, EMA is holding. No short there. So far this is a good sign for our larger ES channel. We're back above yesterday's high. As long as we can hold this, again, I'm going to start to look for some longs. Fury, I think that's your sign for today, my friend. If you're having those tech issues, might be a good time to call it. You definitely don't want to enter a position or something and then get stopped out or take a loss just because of the tech issues. So that would be my sign. All right, so we do have the visual first attempt higher right here. I like a pullback and one more attempt for a long. See if we can get it. John asks, is there ever a time we should be looking for failed second entry longs instead of the usual second entry longs? Yes, John, there is. But if you are not profitable on just the standard second entries, I wouldn't even worry about the failures. It will just lead to a lot of losses. It's very nuanced when you would look for that. So yeah, I would save some money and just stick with the basics. But to answer your question, in general, it's when a trend is already played out. So if an uptrend is already played out with a break in new high, that is when you would look for a failed second entry long, because all of the late bulls, that's where they will be entering, and then you're trapping them and catching that reversal. So yeah, they're essentially reversal trades, so that's why you really need to be careful that the trend's not continuing. So yeah, hope that answers your question. All right, guys, basically a double top there. So yeah, I think it's going to be a sec before we get a possible setup, and don't think it's going to happen on the stream. So I'm going to head over to the Discord. We'll cross our fingers for a good rest of the day. Some continued movement in this direction would be amazing. It's been a few days before we've had anything really nice, so not holding my breath, but crossing my fingers for sure. So all right, appreciate y'all. Thanks for tuning in as always. Make sure to subscribe if you're not, and I'll see the team over on the Discord here in a minute. Everyone else, catch you next time. Later.